Hello students, welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about the future going to. Now, in the first video, we talk about one type of future will. If you haven't watched that video, I recommend you go to future will first and then you watch this video. The types of future that we are going to discuss refer to future will, future going to, and future is are plus ing. To this type of future we call it present continuous. So we're going to check all the videos, all the different structures, but in this video we are going to talk about future going to. So this structure going to, when do we use it? Well, going to, we use this structure when we want to discuss a plan or an intention to the future. So if you use going to, it means that it's very likely to do something, or it is very likely to happen, a certain situation, I mean. So it's very probable that something is going to happen in the future. It's important to remember the use of am, is, and are with this structure, the verb to be. And why is it important? I'm going to show you. First, if I am talking about me, if I am using I, the verb to be is am. So we always say I am. If we are talking about he, she, or it, we are always going to use is. He is, she is, or it is. And if we're talking about you, we, or they, we are going to use the word are. You are, we are, or they are. Now let's move on to the affirmative. With the going to structure, we follow this pattern. First, the subject. I, you, he, she, it, we, they, the students, woman, man, etc. So we have the subject, we have am, is, or are, then we have going to, then a verb, and finally the complement. For example, she is going to watch the film this afternoon. This is very likely to happen. It's very probable, so we use going to. Another example, we are going to paint the kitchen. And I am going to invite a friend today. All these cases are the affirmative for. Now let's go with the negative. In the case of the negative, it's very similar, but we are going to use the word not at some point. So we have the subject, I, you, he, she, the students, the kids, etc. Am, is, or are, depending on the subject, and then not. Then going to, the verb, and the complement. One example could be, Robert is not going to have lunch. Or Robert isn't, the contracted form, Robert isn't going to have lunch. Another example is, I am not going to do exercise. And we can say this other example, they are not going to dance here, or they aren't going to dance here. Now let's move on to the questions. In the questions or the interrogative, we start with am, is, or are. Then we add the subject, going to, the verb, the complement, and finally the question mark. A few examples can include, am I going to become a doctor? Am I going to become a doctor? Is Mohammed going to write the letter? Or are girls going to play basketball? Let's work with a few examples, with a few exercises. In this case, we're going to have the affirmative, the negative, and the interrogative for the questions. And I'm going to give you only one. You have to tell me the rest. If the affirmative is, they are going to visit the town. What's the negative? Can you tell me the negative? So the negative is they are not going to visit the town, or they aren't going to visit the town. Can you tell me the questions? Can you tell me the interrogative? Okay, so the question is, are they going to visit the town? Let's check a different example now. In this case, we have the negative only. Helga is not, or Helga isn't, going to play a soccer match. Can you tell me the affirmative? So the affirmative in this case is Helga is going to play a soccer match. What's the question? Can you tell me the question, or can you tell me the interrogative? So the interrogative or the question is Helga going to play a soccer match? Let's see a different exercise. In this case, we have the question. Am I going to study languages this summer? What's the affirmative in this case? So in this case, the affirmative is I am going to study languages this summer. Can you tell me the negative? So in this case, the negative is I am not going to study languages this summer. Let's see a final example now. In this case, we have the question. The question is, are men going to cook tonight? What's the affirmative? Can you tell me the affirmative? So in this case, the affirmative is men are going to cook dinner. Are going to cook tonight. So can you tell me the negative now? What's the negative? So in this case, the negative form is men are not going to cook tonight, or men aren't going to cook tonight. Thank you very much for your attention.